Welcome to White City Place Connect, where we're offering occupiers of White City Place a live platform from which to learn and engage from the comfort and safety of your own homes. It's Wednesday lunchtime. My name's Dora. You're all very welcome. And I'd like to acknowledge Mental Health Awareness Week this week by bringing our attention a little bit towards the breath. So we're going to start with a few pranayama practices and just a little bit of an introduction into why the breath is so important in our yoga practice and the tool of transformation that is available to us right now, right here. So let's find a comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. You could be sitting in a chair, you could be having your back against the wall, or if you've got any yoga props, you can set those up. I've got a bolster, could be a couple of cushions, or a couple of blocks. And I'm going to sit in Virasana, so I'm kind of straddling the bolster, hugging it with my ankles. You could sit in a cross-legged position if that's more comfortable for you. Anywhere where we can create a long, tall spine without having to use too much muscular effort to keep ourselves upright. And the reason we want our spine to be tall is because it becomes a conduit between the earth and the space above. And breath can flow uninhibited through what we call Sushumna Nadi, which is the central energetic channel through the body. Also, if we're kind of slumped, then we're squishing the diaphragm, and it makes it much harder to use the main muscle of breathing. So the ancient yogis understood that the breath was the interface between mind and body, that we could affect our physiology, our psychology through our physiology, and vice versa. This is something that science is catching up with now. Every time we inhale, we stimulate the sympathetic part of our nervous system, which is the part of our nervous system that gets us ready. It enables us to feel like we want to get up in the morning. We feel enthused to do things. It's the motivational part of our nervous system. And every time we exhale, we stimulate the parasympathetic activity of the nervous system. So this is the part of our nervous system that allows us to wind down, allows us to rest deeply, to heal, to digest, to process things. And of course, we want to be able to move between these two states quite easily. Often problems start to happen when we get stuck in a heightened state of sympathetic activity, for example, which is kind of what life, at least in the city, is almost encouraging. You know, we always want to do better, do more, be busy. We kind of value doing rather than being. The other part, we also don't want to get stuck in a state of feeling really lethargic. Oh, I can't be bothered to do anything. I really don't have any motivations, like kind of lacking there of any kind of passion. So when we inhale and exhale evenly, we create a balance between these two aspects of our nervous system. And the nervous system is said to be automatic, autonomic. The yogis understood that we could actually affect our nervous system, the way that we think, the way that we perceive things, and therefore the way that we feel, and the chemicals that are produced in the body to create balance. So we'll have a little practice today. Our pranayama is going to be breathing in and out through the nose, so we keep the lips lightly touched. And we're going to balance the length of the inhale and the exhale to 4 seconds in and 4 seconds out. This doesn't necessarily mean we have to increase the volume of the breath, so it's not how big the breath can be. It's just creating an even flow, evenness of breath, evenness of mind, balance of the nervous system. So making yourself comfortable, if you need to adjust your seated position, go ahead. Take your hands and place them palms down on your thighs. If it's comfortable for you, you can close your eyes. If you're not so comfortable, if that doesn't make you feel safe, just take a soft gaze onto the floor in front of you. Just take a moment to sense into your body and what it is that you have brought to your practice this lunchtime. Everything is welcome. You can bring your discomfort, you can bring your conflict, you can bring your sadness, you can bring your joy. Check in with your energy levels, and that might just be as simple as, how did you come to your mat? How did you wake up this morning? Were you full of beans, or did you feel a little bit unenthusiastic? Maybe not quite sure if you were going to come to this practice today. And again, this is just information. There's nothing we need to do to change this. The yoga practice is a compassionate inquiry into what is. An acceptance of what it is and who we are, how we feel right now in this moment. Acceptance doesn't mean we like it. Acceptance allows us to transform through different states without too much conflict. So bring your awareness now to the breath at the base of your nostrils. Feeling the coolness of the air as you breathe in, as it's filtered, as it's sterilized by this amazing instrument that is the nose, and the warmth and humidified air that flows out. The lips are lightly touching, the tip of the tongue rests behind the two front teeth. Have a sense that the tongue is broadening. That slight smile behind the face allows a relaxation that flows down to the shoulders. Notice where your spine is. You need to lean back a little bit so you're right here, right now. And we'll begin. So take an exhale. We're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. 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 And pause. In, 2, 3, 4. Retain, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Just gently in, 2, 3, 4. Retain, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Easily retain the breath, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. Pause, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Retain. Exhale. Pause. Last round. Inhale. Retain. Exhale. Pause. Let this go. Let your breath find its own natural rhythm. And check in once more. How are you feeling? Has anything changed? After less than 3 minutes of pranayama, maybe the breath feels a little bit more expansive and free. Perhaps the mind has kind of unteased itself from its knots and tangles, or perhaps you just feel a little bit more present. And if you're feeling something entirely different, that is equally fine. So as we prepare to move, just check in with your intention for this practice, and we'll make a collective intention to be well in this body, to feel good in this body. So however you need to modify, adjust, or adapt this practice towards that intention, please do. Gently open your eyes when you're ready, and we'll ease ourselves out of our seated position, just moving any blocks or props off your mat and coming onto your hands and your knees. And having a gentle awareness of the breath as we practice today as the soundtrack of your practice, just reminding ourselves that the breath initiates the movement. As the tops of your feet down, as you exhale, lift your navel around your spine. And with a rounded spine, start to sit down towards the heels. And as you inhale, bend your elbows, chest drops down, arms straighten as you come up. Into a cow, so from cat to cow, lift your navel, exhale, round as you come to sit down. Your movement might be slower or faster than mine according to the length of your own easy breath, so we're not forcing. Exhaling. Mobilizing the spine. Inhale, so just warming up the facet joints. Lift around as you exhale. Inhale, bend the elbows, drop your chest down and come up. We'll do this 2 more times. How can you make this feel delicious? How can you flow through this? Each breath moving into the next, each movement moving into the next. So never really arriving, constantly moving. Come into a neutral spine, so just lifting the frontal abdominal organs, pressing down to the palms and the shins. The back body is long like a table. Tuck your toes under. Blow the knees off the floor. So it's going to wake us up a little bit. The knees are hovering just about an inch off your mat. And you shift the weight forwards and back, and the knees are staying almost equally high above the mat as you do this. Spine moving in one piece. This time when the sit bones approach the heels, start to lift your tailbone, press your belly towards your thighs. So it's a down dog but with the knees bent. Feet are hip distance apart. And with the knees bent, you can find that pelvic tilt that allows the lower back to be free. Soften the elbows. Come back to the rhythm of your breath. And here, let's lower the knees to the floor once again, keeping your toes tucked. Sit down onto your heels. Reach your arms forward, keeping your head slightly off the earth. Take the weight into the fronts of the hands. Keep your elbows lifted. Keep your head lifted so the crown of the head is the top of the spine. There's an uplift to each armpit. Shoulder blades are spreading. arms are working quite strongly. An active child's pose. And next inhalation, come back up onto hands and knees. Float the knees once again. Start to shift the weight back, sit bones to heels. Belly to thighs, start to unfold. Maybe the legs strain a little bit here in this downward facing dog. Maybe not, maybe it's a little early. You can be still, you can walk your dog. What is it that you need to do to feel comfortable? And comfortable doesn't mean there isn't any effort. It doesn't mean there's no challenge in our practice. We're looking for our edges. That subtle edge where we can move and transform, but we're not forcing, we're not straining the body in any way. Let's soften the knees and walk the hands back towards the feet. Coming to stand at the back of your mat with your feet a hip distance apart. Fingertips can be on the floor. They might be on the shins if you need to be a little bit higher. And you're just shifting the weight from foot to foot. Imagine you were squishing the earth, kneading the earth. If you're standing in soft clay, and maybe the hips do a little figure of 8. Again, this is completely yours. There's no particular technique to this that you need to adhere to. And then find the weight about 50% in each foot. As we shift the weight towards the balls of the feet, notice that you would naturally need to take your hands forward to stop you falling forward. So we're going to move in that direction, tip the weight forward so you're slightly off balance, and walk your hands forward into your downward facing dog. Find a nice long downward facing dog, and as you exhale, press the tops of your thighs back, the sides of your body along, ears in line with the upper arms. Float your whole body forward into a plank as you inhale, switching on the thigh muscles to hug around the bones, and as you exhale, lift your hips up and back. And again, inhaling, coming forward. Exhaling, coming back. One more time, inhaling. Exhaling. Okay. Let's walk the feet forward towards the backs of your wrists. Feet are a good hip distance apart. Letting your head hang here. And then either reaching forward if you know that your back is strong, or arms out to the sides if you're not so sure, coming all the way up to standing. Floating the arms down by your sides. Soften the knees. Inhale, reach your fingertips down towards your outer ankles. Exhale, bend your knees. Maybe you're touching the floor with your longest finger. Inhale, lift your belly, lift your chest, Utkatasana. Exhale, float the fingertips to the floor, press your heels down, lift your sit bones. Inhale, step back with your left toes into your lunge. Lowering your back knee down onto the floor, untuck your back toes. Pushing into the front foot, can you come up with the arms draping? Shoulders dropping down, so simple lunge. Lift the pit of the belly, maybe take your hips forward a little bit. Feel a broadening across your chest. Let's float the arms up. Have a sense of your fingertips. Couple of breaths here. Take the hands to the floor, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Slide your right foot back into a high plank. And you're going to float the left toes off without rolling the hips too much, and then place them down. Right toes off. Place them down. Lower your knees. Untuck your toes, keeping the back flat as we did earlier. Shift the weight forward. Bending the elbows, hug the ribcage with the elbows, forehead comes to the floor. Slide your belly and your legs away. Little internal rotation, the tops of your thighs. Press down to the tops of the feet, maybe the knees lift, bury the pubic bone, and roll the shoulders a few times. Roll them up by the ears, around and down, so releasing a little bit of tension in the trapezius muscles. We tend to accumulate a lot of stress in this area. So the stress in our mind translates into stress in the body. Coming into a baby cobra, release the lower ribs. And then using the hands to press down, tap your toes. Floating, unfolding back into your downward facing dog. Step your left foot a little closer to your right foot if you like that adjustment. And as you sink your left heel, the right leg floats up behind you. Doesn't have to be high. Long. Hips are squarish. Look forward, bend the knee through and step the foot in between the hands. Help it through if it doesn't make its way through. No judgment. Soften the back knee. Glide your back foot forward to fold. Squish the feet into the earth. You're strong in your back muscles. Reach your arms forward to come up or arms out to the sides if you're at all unsure. And float your arms down by your sides. Soften the knees. Imagine you could see out of your back body. So we're taking our awareness from the frontal lobe of the brain, the more cognitive, judgmental part of our brain, the front of the body that's associated with the ego, and having an awareness of the back of our body. Back of our body is our support, something greater than ourselves. Take an inhale, reach down towards the outer ankles. Exhale, bend the knees, maybe you're touching the floor. Inhale, lift the belly, lift the chest, Utkatasana. Exhale, float the fingertips to the floor, press your heels down and lift your sit bone. Inhale, step back with your right toes into your lunge. Lower your back knee, untuck your back toes, push into the front foot, lift the chest, let the arms straight down. Notice if your mind is wanting to go a little bit quicker, as you're feeling impatient or a little bit bored. Or maybe you'd rather just be in child's pose the whole class. So we just notice what's present without judgment. Floating your arms forward and up. And with a sense of curiosity, very difficult to be judgmental when we're curious. Float the hands to the floor, tuck your back toes, lift the back knees, slide the foot back into a high plank. And as you exhale, right knee comes towards the nose. Inhale, slide the foot back, left knee towards the nose. Slide it back, lower your knees, untuck your toes. Back is flat as you shift the weight forward. Hug the elbows in as you lower the forehead. Slide the belly and the legs away from you. Roll the shoulders up, around and down. Pull the hands back as you lengthen your heart forward into space, baby cobra. Push into the hands, come back onto your knees. Tuck your toes and float yourself up and back into the downward facing dog. Step your right foot a little closer to your left. Float the left leg up behind you. So that thigh bone was being freed from its socket. Look forward, step the foot forward in between the hands. Soften the back knee and glide your back foot forward to fold. Simple, easy. Reaching forward, arms out to the sides as you come up. Let the inhalation lift you. You can feel that sympathetic action. Exhale as the arms soften down. Again, inhaling, breathing up the back of your body. So have awareness of breathing up. Back of the waist, back of the ribcage, arms lift. Exhale, fly forward and touch the earth. Step back with your left toes into your lunge. Pushing into the front foot again, you're going to lift up, letting the arms drape. You might need to soften that back knee in order to take the left hip forward a little bit and bring the pelvis into neutral. Look straight ahead, bending the back knee a little bit more. Doesn't quite touch the floor. And then extending your back leg. Back heel comes in and down, letting that left hip rotate in a little bit. And floating the arms out to the sides to find your warrior two. Left arm sweeps down by your hip. We're going to take an inhale. And the inhale, we swivel the hips, swivel the feet. Exhale, land on the other side. Right arm, inhale. See how the inhale takes you up and over, and the exhale you arrive. And again, inhale, left arm, swivel hips, swivel feet. How silky, smooth, and graceful can you make this transition? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, take the right forearm onto the thigh. The left arm sweeps over by the face. We wrap the arm around the back of the waist. Maybe the fingertips even tuck onto the top of the thigh there. Chin slightly in. When we lift the chin, we do this a lot because we tend to lead with our facial features into the world. This is kind of how we identify ourselves, where we think we kind of reside. What we do is we take the energy up into the brain. So to de-excite the mind, soften the face downwards and your focus stays a little bit more internal. As you take your hands to the floor here, swivel up your back heel, slide your right foot back into a high plank, set the feet a little bit wider, swing the heels to the right, so you come onto the inner edge and outer edge of one foot, come onto the left fingertips, maybe left hand onto the hip, reaching out to the crown of the head. You can come out of this before I've suggested, if it's too much. Get the hands to the floor, swivel back around, lower your knees, come and sit down onto your heels for a moment. Just to stretch the wrists, you could lift the hands off the floor, so you're just balancing on the inner wrists, making 2 stop signs with your hands. Place the hands back onto the earth. Come up onto hands and knees, and as you exhale, float yourself up and back into your downward facing dog. Step your left foot a little closer to your right. Float your right leg up behind you. Think of length. Exhale, come forward, knee to nose and round a little bit. Inhale, extend the leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose. Step the foot forward in between the hands. Take the right hand to the inside of the foot. Walk yourself around through a prasarita all the way over towards the left foot. So you're facing the back of your mat. Soften your back knee. Glide your back foot forward to fold. Snuggle your feet into the earth. Coming up with the arms reaching forward or out to the sides. And exhale, fly forward and touch the earth. Step back with your right toes into your lunge. Shift the weight into the center so you can push out of that front foot. Lift your chest. Let your arms drape. Soften your back knee. Softening your back knee. Wrapping the right side of the body forward a little bit. And maybe you're bending that back knee even more to get a nice stretch of the quad. And then extending that back leg. Back heel comes in and down. So allow the hips to be on about a 45-degree angle. And this will be slightly different for you in accordance to how your femur head sits in the sockets, the way that the structure of your pelvis is made, is built, and then floating the arms up. Nice and easy, right arm sweeps forward, inhale, takes you over, land on the exhale. Inhale. As we move, exhale, we arrive. One time each side, inhale, exhale, inhale, Exhale, left forearm onto thigh. Inhale, right arm sweeps. Wrap the arm around the lumbar, lower back, maybe the fingers tuck. Chin slightly in so the back of the neck is long. Out to the shoulder. How can you adjust? How can you wiggle to be comfortable in this pose? Notice if you are holding the breath. Notice what the breath is telling you about the health of this pose for your body. Let's release the hands to the floor, swivel up your back heel, slide that front foot back into a high plank, separate the feet, a little bit wider, swing the heels to the left. Right hand onto the hip, Vashisthasana. Keep the hands down if it's too much, come out if you need to. And release the hand to the floor, swivel yourself around. Lower the knees to the earth. We're going to untuck the toes this time to sit down into a child's pose. It's our moment of pause. And flip the forearms and the palms upwards for a different stretch into the shoulders. Just notice the quality of this mudra. Mudra is a hand gesture. It creates a certain feeling, a certain quality or circuit through the body. This is called Hands of Flowers mudra. So it's an offering, a supplication, a moment of surrender. So just surrendering everything that you've just done. Surrendering any judgment or wish for anything to be any other way than it is right now. Let's turn the palms down, take an inhale, come up onto hands and knees, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Right foot steps a little closer to the center, left foot floats up as you inhale. Bring knee to nose as you round. Inhale, take it up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, step the foot forward in between the hands. Take the left hand to the inside. Walk yourself through a wide-legged fold and all the way around towards the front. Soften your back knee to put the right foot forward and glide your back foot forward to fold. Reaching forward or out to the sides as you come all the way up to standing. Flying forward once again as you take the fingertips to the earth. Stepping back with your left toes into your lunge. Push down to both feet. Lift the chest but let the arms drape. So there's a sense of relaxation in the shoulders. Soften the back knee if it helps to square the hips a little bit so you can feel this. Back heel comes in and down. Arms float out and up into warrior two. Here's a chance for you to adjust the hips of the feet. Turning the palms upwards. Melt the shoulders as you begin to straighten your front leg. You're going to reach out. Inhale, halfway towards a Trikonasana. Exhale, hand comes onto the shin. Left arm comes over. Inhale, float halfway. And exhale, come back up. Adjust your feet if you don't feel stable enough. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach out. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, turn your toes in. Reach your arms up by your ears. Spin the heels in, bend your knees. Angle forward a little bit with the upper body. It's a goddess pose with the arms lifted. Lift the inner ankle bones. Notice what's happening to the breath. Float the fingertips to the floor, press your knees away for a moment. And then spin the heels out. Lengthen through the front of the body, lift the navel and let yourself hang here. A moment of rest in a way, although the hamstrings may be talking to you. A moment to rest the heart, bring fresh blood to the brain. It's an inversion and a forward fold. Forward folds tend to be quite calming in nature and quality. Let's walk ourselves around let's go towards the left foot. Into a lunge. Take the right toe slightly out towards the right side of your mat and spin your heel down. It's a warrior one stance here. Push into your front foot. Let yourself come up and let the arms drape. Keep your body angling forward a little bit to keep some breadth across the lower back. Feel as though your hips are broadening. And so just notice the tendency to maybe dump into your lower back and make it too much for that bend by coming all the way up. Floating your arms forward. Circle the arms around, interlace the fingers behind you. Turn your shoulders in slightly, and we're coming into a humble warrior. Belly, ribcage, possibly shoulder even inside the knee. Your interlaced hands could fly off the back or they could stay onto the sacrum. So hold the shape of your legs. You're hugging your hips in towards your midline. Left sit bone moving over towards the right toes. Can you let your head go? Can you trust your legs, the stability of your legs? Thumbs onto the sacrum. Square the shoulders over the front knee. Release the fingertips to the floor. From your outer back heel, take the weight across the sharp edge of the foot, little toe joint across the metatarsal, over to the big toe joint. A little internal rotation in that thigh. Soften the back knee. Glide your back foot forward to fold. Arms float forward or out to the sides as you come all the way up to standing. Soften the focus of your eyes. Float the arms down. So this is what we call our drishti in yoga, soft focus of the eyes. When we're focusing in or our eyes are darting around different objects in the room, our mind is doing a similar thing. We're stimulating the thinking mind. So sometimes just to broaden our perspective, give ourselves a few more options and choices of thought, we can imagine looking out on a wide vista. Opening up, literally opening up and teasing open the mind. Float the arms up as you inhale. Exhale, fly forward and touch the other. Inhale, step back with your right toes into your lunge. Pushing into the front foot, lift your shoulders, let the arms drape. Back heel comes in and down, floating the arms out and up into a warrior two. Turn the palms up and melt the shoulders. Into straighten the front leg, reach out as you inhale. Exhale, hand onto shin, arm over, Trikonasana. Inhale, you're going to hover halfway. Exhale, shoulders above hips. 4 stages, like the 4 stages of the breath. Inhale, pause, exhale. Inhale, pause, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Turn your toes in. Reach up, melt the shoulders. Exhale, spin your heels in, goddess pose. Hinge forward, broadening the sit bones, reaching slightly outwards. Load the fingertips to the floor. Turn your heels out so the feet are parallel. Let yourself forward fold here, walking the fingertips back towards the heels maybe. Palms could be flat. Take any variation here that you like. Feet can be wider, closer. That will change your experience of the pose. As will a myriad of little adjustments that can be made, that the body knows how to make. Let's come onto the fingertips. Walk ourselves around towards the right foot into a lunge. Spin up the back heel so the hips can be square to begin with. Step the left foot out to the left side of your mat a little bit and place the heel down. So there's a bit of width between the heels. Push into your front foot and your back leg as you come up. This is a warrior one. There's a broadness across the sacrum, as if someone's pulling your yoga pants out to the sides. There's a breadth to the hips. Float the arms forward. So reducing the acuteness of angle in your lower back for now, even if you like to practice all the way up normally. Just being willing to try a few different ways, different sensation, opening the arms, interlacing the fingers. Change the interlace. So it's the opposite of what you naturally do. Draw the belly in, draw the chest in. Let yourself hang in your humble warrior. Hug your right hip in towards the midline. How is your breath? Notice when this pose starts to energetically wane for you. That's your moment to come out. You don't need to wait for your teacher to tell you. You stay present to the feedback, to any sensory feedback the body is giving us to move or to be still. Coming up, shoulders square over the knee. Take the hands to the floor. So taking awareness into the back foot, take the weight into the outer edge of the foot, across the sharp edge of your outer foot, little toe joint. As the heel lifts, spin the weight across the metatarsal to the big toe joint. Soften your back knee, glide your back foot forward to fold. Squish the feet into the earth, reaching forward to come all the way up to standing. And float your arms down by your sides. Take an inhale, reaching up. Feel how the breath rises from the pit of the belly. Sympathetic. Exhaling, parasympathetic, letting go. Hit the hands to the floor, just step back, it doesn't matter which leg, into a last downward facing dog. And notice how this down dog feels as opposed to the first one we did at the beginning. Let's lower the knees to the floor, untuck your toes. Child's pose. And I invite you to take any arm position that suits you. It may be hands of flowers mudra that we practiced earlier. You may wish to take your arms down by your sides with the palms facing up, the shoulders draping away. Or rest your forehead on the backs of your hands. And taking this opportunity to transition from the standing poses, the more active part of our practice, to the part of our practice where we move towards perhaps the most important pose of all Shavasana. Notice how the breath is already changing and settling. Taking your hands by your jawline, using your hands to lift the chest. Bring your knees together, sink your hips to one side and stretch the legs out in front of you. So with the legs extended, just take a rock from one sit bone to the other. Organising the flesh of the buttocks. And draw your right knee towards you. Take the foot to the outside of the thighs. There's a simple twist here. Don't be going to interlock the fingers, Ganesha Mudra, so 2 little hooks with your hand, doesn't matter which way. And you're going to wrap the crook of the elbow around the knee, so you're twisting towards the knee. Press the knee out towards the juncture of the elbow and create a little bit of tension between your fingers. It's going to fire up the pectoral muscles a little bit. So it's quite active. As you press the knee outwards, roll that outer left hip down. There's a softness to the face, to the jaw. And as you make your way back to the center, take your right hand onto your ankle, left hand onto the knee, possibly crossing the thigh over so there's no gap between your legs. How this feels. You might even lift yourself, snuggle the thighs in a little bit closer. Being upright may be more than enough here, so just hands below the knee, one on top of the other. Have an awareness again of the back body. Or if you want to go further, heart moves towards the hands, elbows splay out. If the hands are in the way, release them to the floor. They can act like little balancing stabilizers. If you find you've gone too low and you're uncomfortable here, just come up a little bit. Coming up out of this, using the hands to help you come up. Hug this knee towards you and stretch the leg away. Okay, move on to the second leg, hugging the knee in towards you. Take the foot to the outside of your thigh. You're going to twist towards that knee, making a little cup so the elbow comes around the knee. It's a closed twist. Pulling the fingers against one another, pressing the knee into the crook of the elbow. Rolling that outer hip around and down. Can you find that balance between too much leverage, too much exuberance and zeal, not forcing, but also not kind of just hanging out here. And that balance keeps changing. We find it, we lose it. Away. Out of this, take one hand onto the knee, one hand onto the ankle, cross the thigh over. Maybe you're going to lift the hips, snuggle the thighs in to get a little hug in there. One hand on top of the other, just below the knee joint, lifting tall. This might be where you are. Might be coming forward, heart towards the hands, and if the hands are in the way, they come onto the floor. So we're content to be at whatever stage is right for us just now. We're not wishing to be somewhere else. Our intention to be well in this body, to feel good in this body. Slowly making your way up out of this. Draw the knee towards the chest and stretch the leg forward. You might want to give your legs a little bounce just to release those knee joints. A little bit of tension. And then come to the front of your mat with your sit bones and release yourself down onto the earth. Adjust the shoulders, the head and neck. Take a little rock of your knees from side to side. And although we're lying down, you may even have your eyes closed. And you stay present to the sensations as they arise and dissolve. And you sense, without needing to create a story, without needing to fix, and you draw your knees towards your chest. Hug the thighs towards you. And you might enjoy a little rock. You may even wish to take a twist, make this passive. You could drop the knees to the right. Maybe right hand comes over onto the thigh to weight you down. Left arm extends out to the side. Whatever feels good for you, whatever variation of twist that helps you to neutralize the body. Still present, still here to your breath. Move over to the other side for a few breaths. Coming back through to the center. Place your feet to the floor. So before we settle into Shavasana, we'll come back to the ratio of breath as we talked about earlier. The inhalation being stimulating, the exhalation being relaxing. We extend the exhalation a little bit now, just as we move into our final pose. Just a few rounds of breath. Close your eyes, keep your knees bent for a moment. Come back to the breath moving through the nostrils. And we'll breathe in, 2, 3. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue to exhale. Perhaps there's a pause at the end of the exhale. Allow yourself to reside there. Wait for the body's natural impulse to inhale. When that arises, let the breath flow in. And then let this all go. You wish to stretch your legs out, make yourself more comfortable. Make sure you're warm and undisturbed. This is the moment where we let go of any focus entirely, allowing yourself to rest, assimilate and integrate all that you have done just for the last few minutes. begin your return to the physical body, to the breath, however quiet, however intimate it has become. And to help us move forward back into our day, perhaps take slightly fuller inhalations, a couple of slightly fuller inhalations. Drinking in the energy to support and sustain you through the rest of your day. You can make some little movements to make sure you're back inside your skin. You're ready, just rolling yourself over to the right side, still with your eyes closed, giving yourself time to transition from Shavasana and back to any comfortable seat, whatever that is for you. As we bring our hands into prayer position, still with your eyes closed, just take a moment again to notice how you're feeling on every level. And if there have been any changes, noting that these changes, if any, that have arisen, have not come about because you have changed a circumstance in your life. This has been an inside job, knowing that you have the capacity internally to transform, to be fluid, adaptable, to feel good in this body no matter what your circumstances are, your state of life, your physical challenges, to be well in this body and well in the mind. Because the mind and the body are not separate entities, they are one. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. See you soon.